The Orlando Magic's success depends more on the Wagner brothers than you think. In fact, the work that the Wagners have put in, not only in the FIBA tournament, but also in the NBA, has been pretty overlooked and gone unnoticed, which is why I think now is the best time to talk about just how good Franz and Moe Wagner currently are, and why they can possibly get even better in the years to come. Alright, let's start the conversation with Moe Wagner. Last season, Moe had a solid year coming mostly off the bench, averaging 10.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists on 50% shooting from the field, and 84.1% from the foul line. And if you check out his stats as a starter, you would see that his numbers were actually significantly better across the board. Moe is the slightly bigger among the two, coming in at 6'11", with a 7-foot wingspan and weighing around 245 pounds. His massive frame is obviously his biggest strength, and Moe is using this in the right and most efficient way, primarily by freeing up his teammates through setting up bone-crunching screens. Now, this might not look like a big deal on the surface, but given the way the game is played nowadays with the boatload of threes that teams are taking, along with the floor spacing and the cross matches that it generates, the screener role in today's game has never been more essential than ever, and Moe is one of the guys who has been making a living out of it. See, Franz Wagner will definitely have a hard time scoring if he takes Jaylen Brown one-on-one here. And so, Moe came to his aid by setting a strong pick to force a mismatch, which then led to an easy isolation play for Franz against the slower Cornet. Moe ranks second only behind Wendell Carter Jr. in points manufactured coming off screens with 2.6 points and screen assist points with 5.5 an outing. This is not really an eye-popping stat line, but for the analytics geeks, it's one of those generally unnoticed stats that directly impact scoring in a huge way. Now, on top of setting picks, he also has good instincts in reading and reacting to plays on the fly, which makes him an instant roll threat in some situations. The Magic runs a set piece here where they would plant Moe as a hub just right above the left elbow. Now, as soon as the shooter curls above him, Moe then hands it off to Fultz while setting a nice screen, which catches Rozier and causes him to be delayed in recovering. That seemingly simple screen has created a seam in the defense, and this allows Wagner to have a straight line going to rack with no one contesting him. The Magic scored 1.10 points per possession on 99 pick-and-roll possessions with Wagner as the roll guy, and they registered a 54% effective field goal percentage out of these plays, and went to the line 20.2% of the time with this type of offensive action. In addition, he can also slip through the defense by doing off-ball cuts like this. And there are some possessions where he'll just do everything all at once, like setting screens for his teammates on one end before rolling to the rim all of a sudden to surprise the sleeping defense. Though he's not as gifted as Franz offensively, you saw in the previous clips that he can make a huge impact in the game even without the ball in his hands. And this is precisely why his game is criminally underrated in my view, because he does a lot of stuff that's not normally seen in the stat sheet. Anyways, speaking of his younger brother, let's switch gears and talk about Franz Wagner. From averaging 15.2 points in his rookie season, Franz has amped it up to 18.6 points a ball game last season and tallied even better shooting splits from the field and three-point range. At 6'10", he's a versatile scorer who is probably the most complete offensive package on the Magic's roster right now. He can hit it from deep, create shots off the dribble, but what really impresses me most about his offensive game is his ability to knife his way inside and finish around the rim. You can see that after breaking down his defender with his handles, Franz takes Ayton head-on, and just watch how he fakes him out using a smooth Euro step for the finish. And if you don't put a body in front of him, Franz has the athletic ability to go all the way through and smash it down on someone's head. Driving inside the lane is one area where he particularly excelled and thrived last season. He had the most field goals made and attempts in terms of drives among all Magic players. And apart from that, he's basically one of the Magic's go-to guys when they needed a bucket, as he led them in field goals made, three-pointers made, as well as total points scored. Now defensively, Franz can hold his own too, and he can pretty much defend multiple positions with the combination of his quickness, length, and strength. If you sum up his total contribution and the impact that he brings on both ends of the floor, you can clearly see that Magic struggled offensively when he's not on the court with a 107 offensive rating as opposed to 111.3 when he's in it. And in a similar fashion, their defense also drops significantly when he's sitting on the bench, which is why he was undoubtedly the most valuable player for the Magic last season. Anyways, during the World Cup, the Wagner brothers showed up and delivered when it mattered, most especially against USA and Serbia. And in those games, they flat out balled and showed us some glimpse of what we can expect from them next season. See, as Schroeder knifes his way through the US defense, Wagner was just spacing out from the corner. Now, after Schroeder kicks it out, Franz suddenly attacks the closeout and just flushes it down against the reigning defensive player of the year. And against Serbia, Moe imposed his height and frame by grabbing the offensive board and sticking it back to make the Serbian defense look helpless. But their most important contribution came against Latvia, when Schroeder struggled really badly and shot a horrendous 4 out of 26 from the field with a -20 rating. The good thing, though, was that the Wagners were able to pick up the slack by having stellar performances to save Germany from getting eliminated. With a roster average age of 23.6 years old, the Magic will rely once again on their youth and versatility in the upcoming season. Inexperience, leadership, and veteran presence within the locker room are obviously some areas of concern for this team, which is why they quickly addressed this in the offseason by acquiring Joe Engles. Engles brings in a total of 9-year experience playing with the Jazz and Bucks, and along with that, he's also an exceptional playmaker who can consistently knock it down from deep.
Engles with a step-back three. Got it!
Try and get to that floater. Maybe need an adjustment defensively. Off the dribble three!
The Magic finished last season 27th in the league in three-point attempt and 24th in three-point percentage.
On how they do, I think he's a guy that you could mention as well. He was
deep. Gillespie dishes to Gary Harris. He will fire and fill it.
Electricity flowing through this building.
Adding a 40.9% three-point shooter like Engles into the mix will definitely increase those numbers. And aside from him, they also have shooters like Gary Harris, Caleb Houston, as well as recent draftees like Anthony Black and Jet Howard to add more firepower from the perimeter. Elsewhere, Franz will be locked in the starting five along with Markelle Fultz, Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr., and with the way he's been trending in the last 2 seasons, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he'll have a breakout season next year with a possibility of becoming a borderline all-star. And lastly, with Jonathan Isaac being out for the foreseeable future, I see Moe making the leap to the 6th man next season and embracing that spark plug role off the bench with his energy and aggressiveness, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The Magic had 12 more wins last season compared to the previous one, and we can pretty much say that this young and talented Magic team is certainly heading in the right direction. With this said, this Magic team will definitely shock a lot of teams next season, and there's no doubt the Magic's future looks brighter than ever, especially with the Wagners playing in their corner.